Well, um, I know David Orange from the Meadows where I now live, where he does a weekly talk uh, to make you think, seek your participation, open your mind, and engage your brain. And he gives us lots to think about. He is also, well, at the Meadows, he is the Jewish community, he serves the Jewish community as rabbi and chaplain. Uh, he leads weekly interactive academic studies called Thursday Thoughts. He also does it at the Summit, where it's Tuesday Thoughts, and this morning it's Sunday Thoughts. uh, he's been teaching adult courses since 2001, and he's at the Jewish Home. He's worship leader, provides chaplaincy, and um, other things. You can tell he's a very busy person. This afternoon, he will be leading a Purim celebration, which dates back to Esther saving Jews from Haman? Haman. Okay. And it's a big celebration that I'm looking forward to. Well, without further ado, David.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, everybody. So yeah, this afternoon, we're going to celebrate Purim at the Meadows. So you're all welcome to join us. Purim, by the way, is the Jewish drinking day. You're supposed to drink so much, you can't tell the difference between Haman, who's the bad guy, and Mordecai. All right. So anyway, thank you, Rob. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. And I got to start us off with a real easy question. Who's happy they woke up this morning? Right? Okay. So put a great big smile on your face because it's so relevant to what we're going to talk about here, the science of gratitude. All right. So again, thank you for being here. So we're going to focus on being. You'll notice that I hyphenate words. Rob, you know this. I hyphenate some words because I think that it puts a different emphasis on it. There's being. We are humans being. A cat or a dog is a being, but we are being, and we are being in the now. So I put that emphasis on there. So we start off with gratitude is a state of being. Being precedes experience and produces it. I want to pause on that. Being precedes experience and produces it. Gratitude is not created as a result of certain conditions. Certain conditions are created as a result of gratitude. Substitute any state of being you can imagine, and it will still hold true that beingness precedes experience and produces it. At any time, please, if you have a thought or a question or a comment, we've got a microphone to go around and we can all participate. So far, so good? All right. I've got 3 videos that we're going to show that put a little bit of emphasis on this concept of gratitude. And we can go with the very first one, the 5 benefits of practicing gratitude.
Everything and everything.
There's always a commercial.
With how these laws work. So you've likely heard already about a universal law called the law of attraction.
Some of the happiest people are those who take the time to acknowledge all of the good things that are in their lives. Here are the ways that doing so can benefit you. Number 1, it gives an overall sense of well-being. It can be as simple as appreciating a beautiful day. Taking the time to remember and be thankful for the good things in our lives brings a sense of well-being and peace of mind that we can carry throughout the day. This, in turn, makes it so that you feel positive and optimistic in your day-to-day life. Number 2, it makes us happier. When we're thankful, we feel a range of warm emotions like love, contentment, security, calm, and happiness. Practicing gratitude regularly makes it easier to hold on to these positive emotions, even when going through difficult times. Number 3, it reduces negative thought patterns. Like a bird that returns Some of the happiest people are those who take the time to acknowledge all of the good things that are in their lives. Here are the ways that doing so can benefit you. Number 1, it gives an overall sense of well-being. It can be as simple as appreciating a beautiful day. Taking the time to remember and be thankful for the good things in our lives brings a sense of well-being and peace of mind that we can carry throughout the day. This, in turn, makes it so that you feel positive and optimistic in your day-to-day life. Number 2, it makes us happier. When we're thankful, we feel a range of warm emotions like love, contentment, security, calm, and happiness. Practicing gratitude regularly makes it easier to hold on to these positive emotions, even when going through difficult times. Number 3, it reduces negative thought patterns. Like a bird that returns to the same tree to nest each year, our brain returns again and again to the same thought patterns. The more often we give in to negative thoughts, the stronger these thought patterns become. By practicing thankfulness, we can strengthen positive thought patterns, ensuring that our mind continues to function from a positive place. Number 4, it improves our relationships. Practicing gratitude and appreciation in your relationships is a wonderful way to grow and strengthen the relationships that bring us joy. Number 5, it has physical benefits. As well as mental benefits, practicing gratitude has also been linked to many physical benefits, including sleeping better, feeling less stressed, and having a better immune function. For more ways that you can practice gratitude in your day-to-day life, visit sashacarrion.com.
Okay. I want to get you involved here, get you engaged. What are you thankful for? Shout it out. Yes. Anybody else? Yeah.
Nature.
Ooh, that's a good one. I love that. That's a great place to go for that contemplation, isn't it? What else? Eyesight. Excellent. Gorgeous out, isn't it? Well, there were some who complained about the weather yesterday, but it's still not bad, right? We had spring last week. We'll get it back again. What else? Anybody else? Warmth and love. Love that. What? Yeah. How about breathing? Breathing's good, yeah. What else? Anybody else? Oh, so many don't have that. A roof over your head. Anyone else? All right. Thanks for contributing that. So gratitude and well-being. Gratitude, the quality of being thankful. You've heard the term an attitude of gratitude. Yeah, it's so very, very important. The very first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, don't you say thank you? You know, aren't you glad when the floor rises to meet your feet? I like that. So it's a quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So here's some quotes. Trade your expectations for appreciation and your world changes instantly, by Tony Robbins. Doesn't it though? Yeah, got a little head nod going. The single greatest thing you can do to change your life right now would be to start being grateful for what you have today. Oprah Winfrey. We can complain that rose bushes have thorns, or we can rejoice that thorn bushes have roses. Turn it upside down, huh? And that's Abraham Lincoln. Thankfulness has an interconnection with humility. It recognizes that what we are and what we have is due to others and above all to God. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Albert Einstein. Anybody see Oppenheimer? Yeah, compelling movie, isn't it? Acknowledge your gifts and be grateful to the source, because if you know from whom you are receiving, you can always go back for more. Rabbi Noah Weinberg. I love that one. Reflect upon your present blessings, of which every man has plenty, instead of upon your past misfortunes, of which all men have some. I didn't want to change his quote because it's so patriarchal, but we're talking about people. There's Charles Dickens. Gratitude also opens your eyes to the limitless potential of the universe, while dissatisfaction closes your eyes to it. Stephen Richards. For me, every hour is grace, and I feel gratitude in my heart every time I can meet someone and look at his or her smile. Elie Wiesel. Learn how to be happy with what you have while you pursue all you want. Jim Rohn. So what are you grateful for just for today? If you have food in your fridge, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you are richer than 75% of the world. If you woke up this morning with more health than illness, you are more blessed than the million people who will not survive this week. If you have never explained the danger, if you have never experienced the danger of war, the agony of prison and torture, or the horrific pangs of starvation, you are more fortunate than 500 million people alive and suffering. How are we doing on the sound? No? We've got yet another video here, and this one is on how gratitude changes your brain.
The best prayer to attract wealth begins when you understand that the strongest
Yeah,
energy in the
closed
universe
captions.
is
Would it
not
help if I read
thought,
the captions for you?
meditation,
No? All
or
right.
even the law of attraction. It's brainwaves, and more specifically,
And more specifically, single brainwave, the same one. All right, and we are. So the title of this, of course, is The Science of Gratitude. So we have to go to the brain. And we're still.
You know, it is Zoom, but Zoom does not allow you to broadcast all the manufacturer on Zoom, the same audio as that is in Zoom. Just like it won't let you have the feedback from the speaker, it won't also let you broadcast.
So the YouTube videos are not broadcasting to Zoom,
It is
only to Zoom. Oh, okay. All right. It's just not playing. All right. So, we're going to move on. We're going to move on. All right, Zoomers. Well, fortunately, in the handout that you have is the link. And I would encourage you to go to the link and watch these videos if you have a few minutes. The reason being is that gratitude has a way of wiring the brain. You know instantly if you were to go into a room and there's like a sourpuss, right? Kind of brings the whole energy of the room down. The same thing works in reverse. You got somebody who's very bright and energetic, walks into a room, and you know that they're probably dwelling in gratitude. So that there's a distinction there, and it's in the brain. So at the top of page 3, we pick this up. It says, gratitude, a doorway to higher consciousness. And this is from Deepak Chopra. Gratitude is something all of us understand. For instance, saying thank you when we receive a gift takes hardly any thought or effort. It just seems to come forth naturally. In the same way, when someone thanks us for something we did for them, this too feels natural and welcome. In fact, giving and receiving gratitude is so familiar that we can easily overlook some of its deeper significance. However, gratitude is not just an expression of good manners. It's a doorway to higher consciousness. This is because gratitude is closely connected to several other key dynamics that are also associated with higher states of being. Question, yes?
I think we teach kids to be grateful. We teach kids to say, please and thank you. I don't think that's entirely natural. If we don't
You're
coach
right.
them.
You're right. I've got a grandson and we're teaching him please and thank you goes a long way. But it's more than that, don't you think? Is to cultivate that that sense of gratitude, more than please and thank you, getting and receiving, giving and so on, is to perhaps here in Rochester, we're really good at this. You know, we complain in the wintertime, we don't get to see the sun enough. But I always say, put your mind above 5,000 feet. It's not bad. Right? Or it's so rainy or this or that. We complain about the weather and it kind of flip it around a little bit. And I think that if we cultivate that in our children, they would get a greater sense of gratitude. Any other thoughts or questions? All right. How gratitude relates to love. When we show gratitude for something, we are expressing appreciation. We are signifying that this is something we value. By valuing and appreciating something, we are also expressing love towards it. For part of loving something is to esteem it highly. Therefore, when we express genuine gratitude, we are also expressing love. Love always raises our vibration and consciousness. Because of its close relationship to love, gratitude does the same. How gratitude relates to higher truth. The deepest truths of our being are elegant and compelling, and they automatically evoke gratitude once we begin opening to them. At root, we are all expressions of infinite potential, unlimited abundance, and unconditional love. Because our true reality is so wonderful, even awesome, we naturally feel gratitude as we catch even a glimpse of it. But it works the other way as well. Expressing gratitude for the higher truths that are revealed to us opens us even further to those truths. For example, repeatedly thanking the universe for the fact that we are infinitely abundant awakens us even more to the experience of that abundance. In this way, the practice of gratitude can help foster greater experience of the higher truths that emerge within us. How gratitude relates to the consciousness of oneness. Because of the oneness underlying the universe, whenever we give something out, we also receive something back. You get that? I'll pause there for a moment because in our worship services, we do what's a prayer called the Misha Berach, which is a prayer for healing. But I emphasize that to me, it's the most important prayer that we would utter because it's a prayer of gratitude that we express for the healing that has already been sent. We think of those who are in need of healing. And that very thought exchange goes out to the universe and it goes out to them. And I say, open yourself to receive those blessings, those prayer thoughts, those healing thoughts that have already been sent. And you just open yourself to it. So it's a giving and a receiving. And in that giving and receiving, we create sharing. And it's the sharing that holds everything in the universe together. We go back to this. When we give something of value to another person and receive their gratitude in return, this is a manifestation of the dynamic oneness of the universe at work in our experience, reflecting a portion of our own giving back to us. As we learn to recognize acts of gratitude as expressions of universal oneness, our consciousness of the underlying unity of all things becomes more pronounced. How gratitude relates to the consciousness of perfection. Though we most often express gratitude for the things we perceive and interpret as positive, we can also apply gratitude for things we don't. Extending gratitude even to the darker areas of our life will cause these dark spots to be transformed. They will eventually show forth blessings in some way or another, blessings that were completely hidden before our gratitude was given to them. This process of extending gratitude to all things and circumstances will open our awareness to the inherent perfection of all experiences. The absolute perfection underlying all unity, all reality, justifies our attitude of gratitude in all situations. Likewise, our extension of gratitude to all things will open us more completely to the actual experience of that perfection. In this way, the practice of gratitude fuses with the consciousness of perfection and brings us to an expanded state of awareness. Any thoughts, questions, or comments on that?
Comes to mind is illness.
Yep.
And so would you say more about how illness can be transformed into gratitude?
Yes, and that's what this whole thing was about right here. When I'm going to go back to what I was saying before about our prayer for healing, our prayer of gratitude. We don't know what form that healing arrives, how it manifests, right? It might manifest on a cellular level, a true healing, or perhaps even a cure. Don't know that. Maybe it arrives on an emotional level or a spiritual level, where one who is ill receives those blessings of healing that have already been sent, and perhaps they are able to cope with their illness. They're able to accept that, okay, this is what I'm going through, but it doesn't have to define my life anymore. And that's I think, say, I don't like it, but I'm still thankful for being here. I'm breathing, I'm warm, I'm fed. There are people who love me, people who are caring for me, professionals and so forth, and I'm thankful for them. Does that help? Thank you. Anyone else?
Oh,
Go ahead, Bob.
I was sick for a couple of weeks not too long ago, and it's easy for me to take my health for granted. So being sick and getting better gave me a chance to be thankful and more appreciative of health, and helps me be more understanding of people who are ill, and being more open to them, more
Mhm.
tolerant, more understanding. And if there are times when I've done something to embarrass myself, I've learned from that experience. So it becomes a good experience. It helps me be more understanding, more humble, a greater sense of humility. A lot of good things can come out of darkness. And I'll stop there.
Okay. Thank you, Rob.
I realize I sort of bristle at the word perfection. And these couple paragraphs were all about perfection. I think in my younger years, I really strove for perfection. And I don't think that was helpful to, my perception of myself or my relationships with some other people.
Mhm.
And so these couple paragraphs made me uncomfortable, because it talks about, every experience is perfect, I think it said, and I guess I don't believe that.
Okay.
Um,
That's fair. But what it does, though, is that it does put you into your humanness, doesn't it?
This reminds me, a couple of days ago, I sent out a brief video of Father Gregory Boyle, who works with gang members out in California at Homeboys. And he speaks of gratitude when a gang member walks into his office to talk with him. And I'm thinking, how in the world, and it has such a profound effect
Yeah.
on this young man or woman who walks into the office, because somehow he is able to, Father Boyle is able to be grateful for the presence of this person that perhaps no one has ever been grateful for before, including a parent or a teacher.
So he expressed his gratitude to the gang member who took the courage to come into his office and meet.
I'm not even sure sometimes if he even expresses it in so many words,
Yeah.
but in his heart, he feels this gratitude that this person is in his presence and
Uh-huh.
that he, again, the oneness, the, energy between the two of them. And he may, I'm sure, sometimes say, well, thank you for your bravery and stepping in or coming in.
Mhm.
And other times, I think it's a state of being that he is grateful for these people that for many in their experiences,
Right.
no one has ever been grateful for them in their lives.
Yeah, definitely an openness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
great. Thank you.
This is a pretty profound paragraph for me as well. And it's interesting to me to understand myself in the sense that as I have aged, grown, and matured, I am able to translate trauma in my past, severe trauma in my past, as a blessing
Mhm.
because it gives me understanding, it gives me empathy, it gives me insight. And so rather than baggage, which it always will be in a sense, I'm also able to translate that into something positive.
Mhm.
And I look back at it, and in a sense, I'm grateful for those experiences today.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Some in the room know my story. I was married to a gentleman, member of Brick Church at the time, who sadly took his own life
Mhm.
after we were married just a year and a half.
Oh, boy.
It was my minister from Central who pulled me up by my bootstraps and said, if you don't get on the bus, you're going to get left behind. That was profound. And since then, I was married again, have a daughter, wonderful grandchildren, etc. And that whole experience changed my whole being. I loved that man,
Mhm.
and I could never be angry because of what he did, because it was what he needed to do at the time. And I just moved forward, and I think so many people don't have the support that I did because my minister, these folks know who it was, Dave McMillan, had me come into the office every week, just to talk.
Mhm.
It wasn't God talk, it was just to talk.
Right.
And while I wonder how my life would be different, I am grateful for the life I have.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for your comments. So we'll keep on going. And notably, I appreciate your remarks. What I'm reading from the citation is from the Chopra.com. So I always put my citations on there if I'm taking stuff off the internet and posting it on here. All right. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Bottom of page 4, association with well-being. And your minister that you were just referring to helped you through that grief. And that is very, very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to come through that space. Yeah, when I talk to people who are going through grief, there's no time limit, but there's no way out but through. And the best way to do it is to just feel. So association with well-being. A large body of recent work has suggested that people who are more grateful have higher levels of subjective well-being. Grateful people are happier, less depressed, less stressed, and more satisfied with their lives and social relationships. Grateful people also have higher levels of control of their environments, personal growth, purpose in life, and self-acceptance. Grateful people have more positive ways of coping with the difficulties they experience in life. Being more likely to seek support from other people, reinterpret and grow from the experience, and spend more time planning how to deal with the problem. Grateful people also have less negative coping strategies, being less likely to avoid the problem, deny there is a problem, blame themselves, or cope through substance use. Grateful people sleep better. And this seems to be because they think less negative and more positive thoughts just before going to sleep. Gratitude has been said to have one of the strongest links. Gratitude has been said to have one of the strongest links with mental health of any character trait. Numerous studies suggest that grateful people are more likely to have higher levels of happiness and lower levels of stress and depression. While many emotions and personality traits are important to well-being, there is evidence that gratitude may be uniquely important. First, a longitudinal study showed that people who were more grateful coped better with a life transition. Specifically, people who were more grateful before the transition were less stressed, less depressed, and more satisfied with their relationships 3 months later. Second, 2 recent studies have suggested that gratitude may have a unique relationship with well-being and can explain aspects of well-being that other personality traits cannot. So this brings us to yet our third of 3 videos, which we still don't have sound.
Thinking I'm gonna start cutting carbs. I need to drop my belly fat.
But is it going to stream?
If you want to drop this.
Well, while today is about giving thanks,
All right.
science says being grateful
We get the,
year-round
closed
can
captioning
greatly
on.
improve your life. Studies show expressing gratitude can activate the reward center of the brain and helps people connect. Researchers say gratitude is more than just a feeling. It can become a personality trait. It can help people be happier, less anxious, less materialistic, and less likely to burn out. Jennifer Wallace is a freelance contributor to the Wall Street Journal, and she's written about the impact of gratitude on people and relationships. Great to have you on set. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
What a fabulous topic to have on this Thanksgiving Day. Talk more about the science behind gratitude and how it can impact someone's life and health.
Yeah, so over the last 20 years, researchers have been conducting study after study to find out, is it that happy people are grateful, or is it that there's something about gratitude that can make people happy? And what they have found is gratitude can lead to positive health and psychological outcomes, and it can strengthen our social bonds. So in terms of health, they have found that practicing, cultivating gratitude can lower blood pressure, can make us sleep better, can lower depressive symptoms and anxiety, and strengthen our relationships.
So what are some tips?
Yeah, so I would say the first tip for adults and for kids is to learn how to think gratefully. So we sort of push our kids to write thank you notes, and we say thank you to the person who holds the door, but to actually think about the action behind that and to note it.
What about, I mean, gratitude seems to be one of those things that keeps benefiting you in every area of one's life. Does it help with love connections?
It does. It helps with couples. It creates this cycle of generosity. So researchers believe we have an evolutionary reason that we feel gratitude. And it could be that it helps us find worthy relationship partners. Then it reminds us of their value, right? When you fall in love, it's easy to forget about all the positives. And this helps us. Feeling grateful to your spouse helps you to keep that relationship going and show how committed you are. And it helps us bond.
You know, one of the things I've always found fascinating are people who feel gratitude in the face of adversity. In other words, when you face challenging times, you're actually thankful for those. How does that help when you're facing setbacks?
Well, they've looked at how researchers have looked at how gratitude can help as a coping strategy. So while even in the moment you might not feel grateful, you can still keep a grateful mindset. It doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or glossing over them. It just means being able to step back and have a larger perspective.
And so what are the conversations we should be having with your kids, aside from saying, like you mentioned, you should say thank you, you should ask for advice and appreciate those elders around you? How do you instill gratitude in them as something that's going to be part of their core?
Right. Well, the researchers have found that sort of the best way to do that is, again, to teach them how to think gratefully. So, for example, my son recently, aced a math test. And I said to him, that's so great. I said, but what's really great is that your math teacher came in early to help you prepare for that. She gave up her sleep. She didn't spend maybe a longer breakfast with her kids so that she could go and help you study for that test. When somebody gives my daughter a gift, I said, oh my God, recently for her birthday, I said, oh my gosh, they know how much you love X or Y. And so they went out and they found it for you. And oh my God, the wrapping paper is so beautiful. And that card that they chose and how they wrote it out. So it's not just the gift, it's about the person behind the gift and their actions.
Very good lessons. Jennifer, always great to see you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family.
You
We
too.
mean it. Really.
Yes, we do.
I'm really grateful to be
We are
here.
grateful to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, that's innovative thinking. We're thankful for that. Thank you, thank you. Please.
I loved her examples of how to do that, and it made me think of the negative way that my parents and probably many parents tried to teach us gratitude when they said, you know, eat your food because there are starving children in China or wherever.
Lots of guilt.
Yeah, which didn't really make me more compassionate, I have to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I don't, I wouldn't ascribe to those methods. So I like to hike.
I don't think the next generations did that. I don't think that most of us did that to our kids, but I bet a lot of us heard something like that when we were young.
Yeah. So one of the things I like to do is I love to go hiking. Everybody thought that I was nuts yesterday when I said, well, I can't wait to get out into the snow. Because it doesn't bother me. The weather here in Rochester does not bother me. That's why my wife and I were staying no matter what. But I love going out in the woods with my grandson because I can teach him then that attitude of gratitude and show him how nature shares everything. The bushes that produce berries that are not edible for us are produced by the bush for the birds and the deer and other things. And I show him that, you know, God didn't make just one tree. And then he gets an appreciation of all of these things. So that's kind of what we do and cultivating that attitude of gratitude. All right, let's continue. Let's see here. All right, now the science of gratitude. An active practice of gratitude can increase neuron density and lead to greater emotional intelligence, as an article in Wharton's Healthcare Monthly describes. In neuroscience research, Hebb's law says that neurons that fire together wire together. Yep. The more you practice gratitude, the more you strengthen the brain's neural circuits for gratitude, making it easier to focus on feelings of gratitude. When you start to focus on the things you already have in your life that are good, your brain becomes better at discovering similar things. For example, if you consciously notice how beautiful the stars in the night sky are, you will be more likely to notice the stars and feel gratitude again. Even though the stars are always there, the gratitude focus is like a signal to your brain to notice them. So we take a deeper dive. And this is what I do on Saturday mornings at the Jewish home. I say, put a big smile on your face. And didn't I just ask you about that very first thing this morning? Put a smile on your face. You know what it does? It activates the brain to release dopamine, which is a happy chemical. And it's a good thing. So increased dopamine. Research has found that when we express gratitude, the brain releases a surge of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that plays an important role in many vital functions, including pleasure, reward, motivation, attention, and bodily movements. This surge of dopamine gives you a natural high, creating good feelings that motivate you to repeat specific behaviors, including expressing gratitude even more. Dopamine also increases the experience and duration of positive emotions. In short, it helps you feel good. And research shows that when you feel good, you are more likely to spread your positivity to those you work, live, and play with. As one study found, showing gratitude promotes prosocial behavior, the kind of behavior that endears you to others and moves you to act for the greater good rather than only for your own benefits. Increased serotonin production. In addition to increasing dopamine, gratitude has also been associated with increased serotonin production. Serotonin is often called the happiness chemical because it contributes to feelings of well-being, stabilizes our mood, and helps us feel more relaxed. According to Korb, the simple act of being grateful increases serotonin production in the anterior cingulate cortex. We all know what that is, right? Yeah, no, I just know it works. All right. Greater activity in the medial prefrontal cortex. You do know that one though, right? No. The medial prefrontal cortex is an area of the human brain linked to learning and making decisions. In one study, fMRI scans were performed with two groups. The first were directed to think of a recent time they felt really grateful and replay it in their mind, while the second group spoke of their gratitude aloud as though it was being recorded to be shared with the person they expressed it to. The scans showed that there was a surge of activity in the medial prefrontal cortex area of the brain when subjects expressed gratitude that was different from the brain activity seen when the subjects were feeling grateful but didn't express it. The benefit to the prefrontal cortex doesn't come from just being grateful, but from expressing gratitude. How did I start this morning? Who's happy they woke up this morning? Yeah. Research by the John Templeton Foundation has found that there is a large gap between the gratitude Americans report feeling and the expression of gratitude. According to the study, 90% of Americans say they feel grateful for their families, yet only 52% of women and 44% of men express gratitude on a regular basis. Some possibilities for this gap include the fear that expressing gratitude may imply indebtedness or weakness. Given the many benefits of showing gratitude, it is well worth the effort to address any fears we may have about showing our appreciation at home, in social situations, and in the workplace. 4, activation of the brain's altruism and reward system regions. A recent study found that practicing gratitude activates a part of the human brain, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. I sound so like a med student, associated with what the researchers describe as neural pure altruism, which basically means that your brain craves the experience of giving. In the study, 2 groups of participants were asked to write in a journal every day for 3 weeks. The first group was given general prompts unrelated to gratitude, while the second group was prompted to write about experiences of gratitude and things they felt thankful for. When the fMRI scans of both groups were compared, the results showed that the group that had focused on gratitude had greater activation of that cortex and neural pure altruism. That's the science of gratitude that I was talking about, that it actually shows up in the brain. The researchers concluded that gratitude biases the brain's reward system towards rewards for others versus oneself. By giving, you become more likely to want to connect with others by giving again in the future. Gratitude truly seems to be for the greater good. A quantum view of gratitude. Before we go on, are you familiar with the term quantum? We hear that word a lot now. Quantum computers, quantum this, quantum that. Do you know what the word means? Good, let me explain. Quantum is the plural of the word quanta. A quanta in physics is described or defined as the smallest particle of matter that still contains the qualities of matter. It's so subatomic. And what quantum physicists are discovering is that there are various fields, call them quantum fields, that the latest of which is the science of consciousness. We really don't know what it is or how it is, but we know that it is. So this now takes our gratitude to a quantum level. You may have heard the phrase, the more gratitude you feel, the more you'll have to be grateful for. And quantum physics absolutely supports this concept. With our ever increasing knowledge of how the world works at the subatomic level, we know that whatever we concentrate on, what we pay attention to, will become evident in our lives, or you become what you think about. So the more you experience genuine gratitude, the more that feeling and the corresponding state of being that is gratitude will appear in your life. The magical thing about it, though, is that gratitude can never be a mere task to check off on your to-do list. It's not about just saying the words, and certainly no one would ever want to claim to feel gratitude as part of a plan to get more in some sort of a tit-for-tat exchange. Yeah, gratitude is a beautiful energy that comes from the heart. It's genuine. Feeling gratitude is truly appreciating what you have been given, your life itself, health, loved ones, pets, a job, talents and abilities, home, and whatever else you have. Without that genuine focus on appreciation, this saying won't work. When you honestly value what you have, the gratitude energy concentrates, and you will indeed have more to appreciate. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
I don't know why, but this just popped up in my thoughts that sometimes when I'm having a tough time or something has really pulled me down, I have that should thing, which I get a lot, but I should feel grateful because I'm so, I have so much, and I should feel, like kind of the self-talk that is really probably not very healthy. But basically criticizing myself for the fact that I'm not feeling grateful at the moment. So I don't know how that falls into this or anything, but I know I have had situations where I tell myself, get it together. You should feel grateful. Look at all you have.
So
like that ulterior voice telling me something.
Yeah, and to that point, because I do a topic on self-talk and affirmations. Self-talk is a good thing. It's a good thing, but you can give yourself negative self-talk. Change it around to positive self-talk. Say, I should feel this way. Yeah, let go of the guilt. Say, I'm human. I don't have to feel this way because I'm a good person. Change it around. So flip it. Self-talk is a very, very good thing, but make it positive self-talk. Yeah.
Something that comes to mind is the kind of ripple effect of when something unexpectedly comes your way that is an expression of gratitude, and you go, wow, that was so beautiful, that was so unexpected, and then it makes me think I can do the same. And so I think it's all of our responsibility to be aware of expressing gratitude and how that may have this ripple effect, and it may trigger somebody to think, oh, how could I do something similar to what this person did for me? And, how can I model this for children in my sphere or friends who are going through difficult times? So in the last year, just a couple handwritten notes have come my way in the mail, very unexpected. I'm like, wow, and then I find myself saying, sure, I just send off a postcard to someone I haven't seen and express gratitude for something. So I think, just my takeaway is like, don't hide this in your gratefulness inside yourself, right. Express it. And it may trigger somebody else's response to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows about the butterfly effect. Yeah, butterfly flaps its wings, creates current in the air and becomes a tornado. No. But it's very true. And often too, we've all had this experience, right? Where you're thinking of somebody and then the phone rings and it's them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing, but that's how the universe works. Yeah, please.
Right. J.D. Spar many years ago told us that she always thinks of the person when she's signing a thank you note, and she almost always adds some words to it. And these are for donations to an organization. And it's something that I have, that really hit me, and I have tried to do ever since when I'm especially writing thank you notes. Just to really be thinking about the person that I'm sending it to. And again, sort of the same thing that, did I lose? Oh, yeah, that the lady in the video was talking about, saying to her kids about thinking what went into the person's, note or gift or whatever it is that I'm thanking them for.
Yeah, so it goes back again to what I was saying, is that if you're thinking of that person while you're writing a thank you note, you're making almost an emotional connection, but there is
like a real connection.
And then it comes from the heart, doesn't it? Yeah.
Thank you, David Orange. I was thinking, my mind was always working at, I'm such a skeptic sometimes. So the opposite of this is an attitude of victimization, it would seem. That the world is against me, that I'm, either unworthy or, that I've been victimized by, circumstances. How does one change one into the other? Because someone who is plagued by victimization is going to almost reject the idea of gratitude.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm not sure I can answer that question because I've always had kind of that positive attitude. But it must be possible. Perhaps in the example of the minister who helped you through your grief, maybe it's by just being able to talk it out and realize that maybe but the problem too is that as the brain can hardwire towards gratitude, it can hardwire towards victimization and negativity. There's certainly a lot of that in the world today. I did a unit on global consciousness, which is kind of like where we are today. If we were able to all of a sudden, this isn't really getting to your question, but what would it be like if on this planet, every person on this planet, we got the word out to think positive or to think in terms of gratitude? Could we change the shift of human consciousness? I don't know, but it'd be kind of a cool experiment to do that. I would say, for the person who feels victimized, probably needs to talk it out with somebody. I don't have a good answer for that. In the back.
I think it's also possible to cultivate a habit. I got a gratitude journal that you're supposed to go to every single day, and every day it gives you a prompt question of something to contemplate, or a person to contemplate, or an experience to contemplate for which you had gratitude. And I did it for, several months, and then it's sort of got a little repetitive for me. And so I stopped, but I probably shouldn't have. But that does sort of every day then make you focus and concentrate. And I think that's one way the wiring maybe could change for people who want to cultivate more spontaneous senses of gratitude.
That's a key word there, want.
I'm remembering a song from my childhood. And I wonder if this is familiar to you. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. So that's such a simple act, isn't it? To count your blessings, except that it requires awareness for sure. Yeah, I like that song. And I like what it draws from me. Yeah.
Well, and could I add to that point? Because you say count your blessings. And what I like about what you said is that count them. This one, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful. Count them, list them. Yeah.
Along with that and what we were talking about earlier about children, wouldn't it be wonderful if each young child had a gratitude journal instead of being told, now say thank you, or saying that song, and I'm sure there are others like it, that it getting at the root of what this feeling is. Some children seem to be born with it, and other children, and as they grow into adolescence, like the habit, like you're saying, that we somehow, there must be ways other than rote thank you. Or, I mean, I remember being, our generation had to write thank you notes at
Mhm.
birthday time. So you had to write a thank you note to grandma. And my brothers, he had to write at least 3 sentences because he wasn't, much for words. Mine were a little longer perhaps. But, that you had to do it. And again,
Right.
guilt, it was hanging over you. But what if we had that nurtured, when we were 4 or 5 years old, instead of, having it be
Yeah.
controlled by it.
So here's how thank you notes are written today.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
If. Uh-huh.
This,
All right. Oh, yeah. go
this just popped into my head. Sometimes in the corporate world, they discourage people responding to emails with just a thank you, but I don't feel that. So, and I've got a whole string, if something gets completed and accomplished, a lot of times they'll say, just fills people's email boxes to not say the thank you part. Now, I've not heard that personally there, but corporately elsewhere, I've heard folks, that we don't, you just expect, okay, this is done, boom, on you go. So it's your job, yeah. But no, I'm a thank you. It's a shortened signature, so it just says thank you, Nancy, instead of all the.
Yeah, it's a T-Y.
Thank you. Sorry. It's
All right,
important.
I think we have a hard stop. So thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate you. And just have a great day, won't you? One last thing. Throw the peace sign. Throw the peace out to the world. All right. Thanks, everyone.
David, thank you so much. And you know why? We're grateful for your presence and your work. And I'm grateful that it's here in writing so that we can go back over it and review it. And I'm grateful for all your comments and your presence. And I'm grateful for a reminder that it's not enough just to feel gratitude, but it's more helpful to express it.
Yes.
And share it. Thanks so much.
Great.
So we are not going to have Sunday Forum next week, which is Easter, but the week after that, we're going to start a new series, which is going to be a month-long series focusing on the work of some of the tenants here. And so we're going to hear from Spiritus about their mission projects. We're going to hear from the Quakers about some of the environmental things they're doing. We're going to have a tour of the church to see more about our space and where our tenants work and some of the potential for the future. And the Life community that worships in the chapel at 12:30 on Sundays is going to be presenting, as well as one other group. Was it UCLM? Okay. So we hope you will all come back, and we hope more of our tenants will come learn about each other at Sunday Forum in April. So thanks for being here.